What's going on, guys? Evil Dragon here, back with another Dead by Daylight video. It's been a while, I know, I apologize. School's nuts, didn't expect it to be this much. But today, that's not the goal of the video. School. I don't want to think about school. I want to think about Dead by Daylight and perk ideas that I have for it. I originally was going to make this into one really big video, but I had a lot more ideas than I thought and that I want to flesh out. And so now this is going to become killer perk ideas and survivor perk ideas that'll release probably after this one. So once again, I apologize for that. But what are the rules? Come up with good perks, come up with bad perks, because let's be honest, there's over 150 different perks, I believe, I'm pretty sure, on both sides. And so for the most part, some are going to be better than others, and some are going to be worse than others, and some are going to be, okay. So that's why I've just come up with a bunch of random perk ideas that, again, I'm just going to talk through, discuss them about. I'm dying. But yeah, so without further ado, let's dive into the first one, and I call it Hex Malfunction. Pretty much, at the start of the game, there's a Hex totem that's lit up that does absolutely nothing. Kind of acts like an Undying, it's just a decoy. When it's cleansed, however, the killer can go over and rekindle it, and the survivor that cleansed that totem suffers a gen penalty, but they cannot cleanse that totem again. So one of the other three has to cleanse it for them. I don't know, there's never really been a perk, to my knowledge, that like a killer can't do anything about. So for that reason, I think it would just be cool that, you have that debuff, you can't do anything about it, and you have to have that team aspect work towards it. Next, we have, I call it Tamper, where it'll only work when you kick a gen, but whenever you kick a gen, it takes an additional 5%, so 5% of the base kick plus normal 5%, so 10% damage, and it's blocked for 16 seconds. However, because you've tampered with the gen, anytime a gen you've kicked is blocked and it's continued to regress, it'll regress while being blocked. What does that mean? Well, for example, with this perk, you kick it for 16 seconds, it's blocked, it regresses at the normal 100% or 0.25 charges a second, meaning it'll lose about 4 charges in that 16 seconds, or the equivalent of 4 seconds of repairing a generator for a survivor. So it's not that much. However, obviously, it'll stop being blocked, it'll continue to regress, but say then you down someone, you pick them up, and Thrilling Tremors activates for about another 16 seconds. Well, if that gen that you kicked with Tamper is still regressing, then now that it's blocked, it'll continue to regress while being blocked. Obviously, I know all this stuff will have to be worked out in the code, and the spaghetti code might not be possible, I have no idea, it might be too difficult, but that's an idea. But it wouldn't work with, say, Pain Res in DMS. You could use Pain Res DMS, but because you didn't kick that gen, you didn't tamper with it by kicking it, it would not work in that regard. It only works when you kick a gen and have it blocked. So again, it could work with like Deadlock or again Thrilling Tremors, something like that there. Next perk idea I have is called Iron Grip. But what this does is when you press the active ability button, probably square on controller, I don't know what button it'd be on PC, but you press the active ability button near a hooked survivor within 4 meters, they are then blocked by entity hooks for 4 seconds while their timer continues to go down. Reassurance can buy a survivor 30 seconds, so while it was recently buffed from 60 to 70 seconds, you can have a minute on a hook, whether it be in first or second stage. And while on second stage, you can have the one Steve perk, I forget the name of it, but you can extend your time to a couple, I think it's around 30 seconds once again. You can have, I think it's around near 2 minutes on a hook stage. That being said, I think this one isn't too far-fetched. 4 seconds is not a lot. You could force someone to go to second hook. You could force someone to die. And another thing is, if say people try to come save, at the end game you just hooked someone, everyone else is healthy, they try to come save, you block them for 4 seconds, you can buy time that they have to waste time once again to go re-heal and everything, as you might be able to injure 2 of them or whatnot. And so that way, again, it wastes time, and they can go ahead and, you get the win there. Or at least maybe another kill, or it just wastes their time, end game timers going on, something like that. 4 seconds I don't think is too far-fetched. I think 3 seconds is too weak. 4 seconds is the exact same time as like barbecue and chili, so at the end of the day, I don't think it's too strong. But again, like I said, there's not really any hook perks for killer that either increase the time or block the time or anything. The only one is Monstrous Shrine, and even then, it's not very good. So that being said, Iron Grip there. Now my next perk idea is Hex Everlasting. Every single totem is lit at the start of the trial, with each one doing something different to a different stat. One makes healing slower, one makes gen speed slower, one makes recovery speed slower, door opening speed slower, and totem cleansing slower. It's pretty much if Pentimento, old Pentimento, you had all of them ready. Every single totem's lit up, it does something. Maybe it's not a big percentage, it could be even 10% for each one. However, obviously that's very strong. So it does two things. One, this totem takes priority over any other hex perk a killer brings, so you can't bring Noed to, only have 4 of the selected random totems, then Noed at the end or something. No, it takes priority. Obviously, you could use Pentimento with this, but at the end of the day, you can't have any other hex perk with this. And the second thing it does, however, is when each totem is cleansed, remove 2.5% from each generator permanently. Pretty much after all 5 totems are done, it's 12.5% automatically removed, pretty much a slightly better brand new part on every single gen, or kind of like Invocation Weaving Spiders. I think that's a good counter to this, where you have every single hex totem active. It does everything from, again, anti-heal to anti-gen stuff to anti-recovery on the ground, everything like that. So I think that's fair. 2.5% doesn't seem like the most, so there you go. Next, I have Splitting Pain. This one definitely seems overpowered, but when injuring a survivor, one singular survivor within 16 meters will also be injured, and it goes on cooldown for 2 minutes or 120 seconds. We've kind of moved away from that super long cooldown that we had for, say, Oppression, that was like 90 seconds, or Dragon's Grip was 2 minutes, when these aren't really good perks. We've moved away from that, and I want to bring that back, and I want this perk to be relatively strong. Again, you have to be within 16 meters, which is the exact same proximity that a killer has to be within a hook to, get the anti-camp. So then it's not the biggest distance in the world. Hell, you can make this even smaller. This is kind of maybe to deter you down someone. This is to deter like maybe flashlight saves or something, or if they're using a teamwork perk, whatever. Obviously it does seem stronger than it is, but at the same time, if a survivor just runs away to like Shack or in the middle of nowhere, I can definitely see it not getting a lot of use. But yeah, I just call it Splitting Pain there. Next we have Countdown. Every time a generator is completed, you gain a Pop Goes the Weasel effect, or, you just, gain the ability to use Pop, which is, you kick a gen, it's 20% of its current progress, and it lasts for 40 seconds. So obviously, if you don't, kick a gen in that time, you just lose it. I think this isn't too bad, considering with the strongest gen perks being Pain Res and Pop, it requires, to hook a survivor, but sometimes if survivors are doing really good in chase and whatnot, and they're, wasting your time, you might not get a really good gen perk. Obviously, you might get Surge off if you down someone, but that's only 8%, so you kind of want a much better gen perk. I think this isn't too bad. It rewards you for kind of sucking in chase, yes, but again, at that reward, it can pay off, especially to buy you some more time, so I don't think it's too far-fetched. Next, I have Agitated Power. In chase, you break pallets, walls, and generators faster by a percentage, and you gain a stack of Bloodlust up to 2 stacks if you break something in chase, and it removes the ability to gain Bloodlust naturally. Now, I wanted another perk that can make, breaking pallets stronger, but we already have Brutal Strength. That does a nice flat 25%. Sure. Then there's also, of course, the Game Afoot, where if you break something, you get haste, and, change the obsession around, and blah, blah, blah. Again, obviously, in chase, I think that's fine when I gain speed, whatever, but Bloodlust doesn't stack with haste, so I think it would be its own thing. And again, say with Rapid Brutality, when you use it, it removes the ability to get Bloodlust, so I think this is another perk that would remove the ability to get like a normal Bloodlust. You just get like a nice flat Bloodlust stack up to 2 if you break a pallet in chase. Obviously, the new pallet density, changes as well. It means weaker killers like Trapper or Hag are obviously a lot worse now, and they need that kind of buff to be able to break stuff faster. So I think this is the case. I think this is very solid there. Next, we have Endgame. Just endgame. Upon entering the endgame, or the last generator gets done, the timer will start right away, but it's always at its 50% slower state. So when you have someone on hook, or you down someone, the bar goes from yellow to gray, and it moves at 50% faster. That's the entire endgame bar, but it activates the moment the last gen gets done. This forces survivors to be a little bit fast. Obviously, the normal speed is 2 minutes, so they have 4 minutes of that endgame. It's still a lot of time, and this obviously doesn't sound like, in my opinion, too good of a perk, but I just think something to force this time, especially if you are in chase and you down someone, put them on a hook, or, you have Noed activated or something. This can buy you a lot of time. Maybe you can get Blood Warden off to waste another minute, stuff like that. No Way Out, whatever. It could work in a good endgame build, so I like that perk idea there. Next, I have Scorch Hook Illusion. Whenever a survivor is hooked on a Scorch Hook for the first time, 2 fake pallets will appear on the map. After that, if they're hooked again, say you hook Nancy on a Scorch Hook, then 2 fake pallets spawn, but obviously that removes the token, so you hook her again, only 1 will spawn, not the 2 this time. Anyways, once you do that, the fake pallet will appear. And fake packs act similar to dream palettes, except they cannot stun a killer, so they kind of look like that illusionary effect from the elves perk, Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing, or an old dream palette. It's just up from a far away distance, looks like a real palette. You get too close, you drop it, breaks, can't stun or anything. Bad. And it acts as a scorch hook, so I think that one's not too bad there. But yeah, looking at my list, I believe that's all the perks I have for the killer. I have some more ideas actually on another doc, but I wanted to maybe I can split this up into a future video, but those are my perk ideas there. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Maybe you have your own ideas as well, and I can address that in a future video. But without further ado, hope you guys did enjoy nonetheless. Maybe leave a like, maybe a nice comment down below, maybe hit that subscribe button, tang that little bell, and I'll see y'all next time for some more Dead by Daylight, and more importantly, some Survivor perk ideas for Dead by Daylight. Bye, everybody.